Hi everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful dress that has gathered at the lower part of it and sort of front button. If that is what you want to learn how to make for yourself, then keep watching this video to the very end and let's head straight to it. So firstly, you'll be starting off with your basic bodice block like so. Okay, I have my waistline, hip line, and then my side was that and my waist that. All right, these are the basic things you have. Don't forget your chest line, your bust point line, just the way you're seeing it on the screen. So the first thing you're going to do is to mark the midpoint of your shoulder, just the way I'm doing right now. At this point, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you'll be notified whenever I post lovely tutorials like this. So since you've marked the midpoint of your shoulder, you go ahead with your ruler and connect that point to your bust point now. And having connected it, this is what your pattern should be looking like at this point. The next thing we're going to do is to mark the length of our yoke. Okay, we need a yoke for this dress design. And so this is the point I'm going to mark. My own measurement and yours mustn't be the same. So do whatever you feel suits the yoke for your dress. And then you square a line across like so. And this part I'm going to be labeling yoke. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out that yoke on that line. Now do not forget our neckline is on the basic, as if you want to make a shirt or a turtleneck, right? So I'm going to be cutting it out so we have our neckline open. So this is what we have for the first part of this dress. I'm going to set it aside so we'll work on the other part of it. Now remember, this dress is in 3 layers: the yoke, the main bodice, and the gathered part of it. So for the gathered part of it, you're starting from the hip line. From your hip line, you're going to be cutting to separate the second part of the dress from the third part of the dress. And so now I've gone ahead to cut it and I've separated. I'm going to label here gather. So this is what it looks like. We'll set that part aside. So now we'll have the second part of the dress, which is actually the biggest part of the dress. Now I'm going to be cutting open my side bust that. So I haven't cut open my side bust that. Remember that line that came from the midpoint of the shoulder to the bust point. I'm going to cut it open, then close up my side bust that, transferring my side bust that to that line. At this point, we have created shoulder princess that. That's what we just created, the shoulder princess that. So now I'm going ahead to cut out the waist that like so. So this is what we have. Now, if you have any pointy part at the other side of your pattern, not the center front, the other side, go ahead to use your pen, your marker, your pencil to smoothen it out, give it a smooth curve. You can use your curve rule to do this, give it a smooth curve, and then use your ruler to cut out the excess part of it. So your, princess darts or your princess line comes out natural and beautiful. So this is what this part looks like, okay? Now I went ahead to cut this part out in full, the front of it, center. Okay, I went ahead to cut the yoke in full. Can you see? I had to cut the yoke out in full. Now, you know those ruffle design at the yoke part of it. In order to get that, you're going to be measuring your actual length, the actual length of your yoke. Now, this is what I have for mine. You can have whatever you want for yours. So this length, the actual length, you measure it, you multiply it by 2 or by 3 inches. Depending on how full you want your ruffle to be. You multiply it by 2 or by 3 inches. I'm going to have to multiply mine by 2 inches, and this is what I have. Okay, so you're going to be sewing it down onto the yoke. If you're top stitching it, leave ½ inch, which you're going to join the first part of this dress to the second part. All right, so I'm going to have to join it. Make sure you make your center front visible. Notch your center front at the collar and also at the lower part of this first part of the dress. Now, this is the second part of the dress, which is actually the biggest part of this dress. Remember our initial pattern? I went ahead to use the initial pattern to cut it out in full The center front is now in full. We have it in full. And also the side front, I have two pieces of it. Can you see? I have two pieces of the side front. So we're going to be joining this together right now, just like the way you sew it up on your fabric. So I'm using my sellotape to sew it, to join it together. Can you see, if you watch closely, I marked notches. If you watch closely, I marked notches to indicate that this is where this is supposed to join or align with this. I marked notches. Watch closely, you find out that I marked notches. So do how to mark your notches on your fabric. So as you're sewing, you're not guessing. You know where this part of this dress is supposed to join with the part of this dress. So that is actually what I did. I marked my notches and I'm taping it down according to the notches that I marked. So having done that now, this is what it looks like. So you get the first part of the dress, which is the yoke part of this dress. You're going to join it to the lower, to the second part of this dress. Remember I said, make your center front visible because you're going to be joining through the center front of the upper of the yoke and the second part of the dress, the first and the second part, okay, so that they are in alignment. So I'm going to have to join mine together through the center front. Can you see that? So you can go ahead now and join the rest part of it. The center point is like to put you in alignment. Then you go ahead and sew up the other part of it. Now, the next thing you're going to do is to measure from this point to this point of your dress. Whatever you get, add 1 inch or 2 inches to it. And then cut a long strap of that length. Your width can be 1.5 inches or 2 inches. Make sure you fold the edges of your width neatly. Make sure you turn it up neatly, okay? Make sure the length is what I told you or what I explained earlier. Make sure you turn up that strap very neatly. So here is my strap. Can you see? I turned it up. Can you see there are no rough sides? Only the up and the down part of it is looking rough because of course I'm going to be stitching my collar and the lower part of it to it. So now from your center front, you want to mark 1/2 inch on both sides and place this. If yours is 1 inch, the width of your own is 1 inch, you want to place it on 1/2 inch like so. I'll advise you use 1 inch. That is going to make it look very realistic and professional. Use 1 inch, okay? So I'm going to be taping it down, or you top stitch it neatly, top stitch it with a neat stitch and neat straight stitch on top of it like so. So this is me telling you that the button at the part of this dress is actually artificial. It does not have any front button that you can open up. It's actually artificial. Now for the lower part of this dress, you want to measure this part. Whatever you measure on that part, you want to multiply it by 2 or by 3 depending on how full you want your gather to be, and you join it to this part of the dress. Can you see? So this is what it looks like. Now let's head over to the back. For the back, this is my basic bodice for the back. The first thing I'm going to do for this back now is on this hip line, I am going to cutting it out. I'm going to be cutting it out, sorry. The back has just 2 parts, which is the upper part and the gathered part of it. All right. So I've separated into 2. This part is actually the gathered part, which is the second part of it. So I labeled gather, and I'm going to use my ruler to, draw in the lines where we're going to be cutting, or sort of a guideline where we're going to be cutting. I labeled center back also, so I know that this is where the center back is. So I'm going to be imputing signs like scissors to show that you're actually going to be cutting on these lines, right? This sign shows that you're going to be cutting on these very lines. So this is what this part looks like. And remember the same method we use for the front. Whatever measurement you get, multiply by 2 or by 3 so you have enough things to gather. You have enough fabric to gather. So we'll set it aside. And now for the upper part of the back, which is actually very simple, you're just going to be cutting open your dart. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to have to label back. Now you're going to be stitching this up. If you mark it out on your fabric, you stitch it up, right? So you remember I told you that the button at the front is artificial. So for this part of the back, your center back, you're going to be imputing your zipper allowance. All right, this dress is going to be having a zipper at the back. So this is center back rather. You'll be having a zipper at the back of it. You'll be having your zipper up until, let's say, 2 inches or 1.5 inches away from where your gather is going to start. Do you get? You're going to be having it 2 inches or 1.5 inches away from this part. Okay, that's where your zipper is going to stop. So set this aside. And this is for the sleeve, okay? This is a bishop sleeve with gather at the cap, right? Okay, if you feel that the tutorial for the sleeve is not really detailed enough for you, you can drop a comment in the comment section and I will drop a link or give you a link that you can watch a detailed bishop sleeve tutorial that I already made on the channel. But then I'll go ahead to explain. So I'm ruling out my line, which is the line I'm going to be cutting out for a bishop sleeve. I'm going to be cutting out on this lines for a bishop sleeve, okay? I'm going to be cutting through on this line for a bishop sleeve. Now for the cap area, we are not cutting out everything. We're not cutting through everything. We're only cutting through on the parts that we want to gather, all right? But for the hem, we are cutting open everything. So we get more fullness to gather at the wrist part of it, okay? So at the end of it, this is what our dress looks like. And that is the end of this tutorial. See you in the next one. Bye.